My name is Maria Juarez, and you're listening to In This Casa. Bienvenidos. In this podcast, I aim to memorialize and honor my husband David's memory by exploring conversations about life and what it's like in my casa, and hopefully in other casas as well. Welcome back to In This Casa, and thank you for joining me. In this episode, I would like to introduce my daughter, Bella.
Hi.
Hi, Bella.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing, my darling?
Doing pretty good.
How's your day today?
Eventful so far.
It has been an eventful day for the two of us, hasn't it?
Yes, and we still have more.
We still have more. Yeah, here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll make it.
We're going to make it. Okay, so thank you for coming on and joining me today. I wanted to take some time to kind of talk to you so our audience can get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have anything in particular you wanted to talk about, but if you don't, then I can maybe ask some questions and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think the second option might be a little better.
Might be easier.
I think
Okay.
so.
How about if I just start kind of giving a little bit of background and then maybe you can jump in and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Is that
Sounds
cool?
good.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Bella is our oldest daughter.
I am.
But Bella grew up and lived with her mom and her stepdad.
Mhm.
But now you are older. You finished cosmetology school
Yes.
and you're about to take your cosmetology practical exam and hopefully get your license.
Hopefully.
And you're working. Anything? Nope, I'm just talking about you. Nothing to add.
Let's see. I guess we could talk about that cosmetic school.
That would be good. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much to talk about. I feel like we could go back and talk about high school, but we don't have to. And then we could talk about your first year in college, which happened to be through COVID.
Yeah.
That then you came home, and then that kind of is what, a year before we lose daddy.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then you started cosmetology school
Like in November.
less than a year before
Yeah.
we lost daddy. And then you
Yeah.
had to finish the week we lost him.
Yeah.
So a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Where would you like to start?
I guess we can do college. I
Okay.
went to Columbia College in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's where it's mostly known for comedians, but I
Okay.
went in for journalism, specifically fashion journalism,
Yes.
and then went during 2020. That was interesting. Um, it was everyone was in a dorm by themselves.
Right. So it was in the fall of 2020, so it was August.
Yes.
And Daddy and I drove you up there. We drove all your belongings up to Chicago and
Yes.
moved you in. And in your dorm, you had what would normally be a big double room.
Mm-hmm.
But
It would.
since it was during the pandemic, everybody was in rooms by themselves, correct?
Yes.
So you had a suite mate.
I did. So it was a Jack and Jill.
Uh-huh.
So on the other side, it was my other roommate,
Okay.
who I'm still friends with now, actually. So it was just the two of us instead of it being four girls in a Jack and Jill.
Right. So normally it's a suite of 4, 2 girls in each room, but
Mhm.
it was 1 girl in each room.
Yes,
And they were huge rooms.
they were.
Yeah.
My room was a little bigger because mine was a corner room, so
It
I had
was.
all the windows.
It was cool. And you had a view of the lake, didn't you?
I did, but it was mainly the Congress Hotel that was
Yeah.
there.
But you could kind of see the water a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
and then the train ran through a parking lot right
Mm-hmm.
behind the school, so it was very noisy, but I got used to it. I think I slept the most in that year.
Yeah.
But
So how was that? Because your sister goes to school in California now, but you went out of state first, and I didn't even go to college out of state,
mhm,
and none of your other parents had been to a university.
no, yeah.
The university I went to was in Dallas,
Mhm.
so you were the first one in our family generationally to go out of state for school.
Yeah. It was hard to go. It was both hybrid classes, so we did have most of our classes online. I think my intro to journalism was in class, and I struggled going to in class school. Um, and I struggled going online as well.
Which is a thing that happens to a lot of freshmen, actually. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the majority of freshmen have a rough year and they usually pull it together their sophomore year. So I know that it was rough
Mm-hmm.
on you, but I think that's pretty typical.
Yeah, honestly, if I stayed, I would have had the same experiences as Sarah. 'Cause Sarah, as a freshman, struggled making friends, struggled, well, she didn't really struggle with her schedule too much, but it's still technically the same struggles a normal college student would have. So if I
Yeah.
stayed longer, I definitely would have experienced the same thing. The only difference was it was during a pandemic. Things were shut down, but there was still the comedy bars that were still open. So, and I made friends of different departments. So I was still get able to go out and have fun. But if anyone got sick, it's really just stay in your dorm.
Do you think that because you were in Chicago and you were far away from us and you I had been to a university before, but other than me and our family and who is your blended like nuclear family, I was the only one who had any experience in regards to going to college like that.
Hmm.
Do you think that you thought maybe that you were having an experience that was extraordinarily negative, but looking back on it now, it probably was just a normal college experience?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning and seeing and looking back on it. Absolutely. Definitely should have stayed, but it's okay.
It's
We went
okay.
to cosmetology school.
Yeah.
And I struggled even with cosmetology school.
Well, school's not for everybody, and
No.
sometimes, you have to learn that, right?
Yeah.
So,
But I think my whole trajectory in life would have been completely different.
for sure.
Um, I did have in the arts, that's what I was struggling with. I think I was struggling with the fact that I didn't really meet a lot of people. Um,
Right.
I was more like in my dorm, but I wasn't at the same time. It was like a good 50-50. I knew how to socialize, I guess, but it's also more I hated taking the required classes. But I did have a lot of fun in my English class and then my journalism class and my art class. So basically the niche classes that I needed to take in
Okay.
order to get to where I needed to go. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just
Okay.
did not finish.
Yeah, and that I mean, that happens. I
Yeah.
didn't finish at SMU, I wasn't able to finish there. I finished much later in life,
Hmm.
my degree, but, life happens.
Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you, my darling. Okay, so then you came home. So when
Hmm.
you came home, your mom went and picked you up and moved all your stuff back here to Texas, and at the time, you lived with your mom and your stepdad, right? When you came
Yes.
back?
Hmm.
Okay.
And then, so in that time period, I worked in retail for a while. I did do community college for a little bit. I
That's right,
think.
at Quad C.
Hmm. I think I did one class and realized again school really wasn't for me. So I
Right.
continued working in retail,
Mhm.
really focused on just working, saving money. And then we had a conversation. I don't really know how cosmetology came up, but I always,
So I think by the time it came up, by that time your sister had started or was planning on going out of state for school. She had
hmm,
already graduated, and you were coming to live with Daddy and I
yes,
because you came and lived with Daddy and I in July of
23.
2022.
Thank you. Yes, because I was working at
Yeah,
a thrift store.
2022. And I think, yeah, you were still working at IKEA
Hmm.
and you were going back and forth. And I think then we started to have a conversation about a more long term goal and
Yeah.
you know, how did you feel about school? Did you think it was something you wanted to go back to? Which I think at that point you were like, yeah, I don't think school's for me, which we were okay with. We were just like,
We need,
let's come up with a plan.
yeah.
Yeah. So we landed on cosmetology.
Yeah. And it worked out because I've always messed with my hair throughout.
Right. Which is probably part of I mean, we own a salon. So
Hmm.
one, and then you have two Theas who are the lead hairstylists at the salon who have a ton of experience, so built-in mentors, so
Yeah.
easy. But you were always dyeing your hair all through high school and
Yeah. I just never
doing your
realized.
makeup. You were real artsy.
Yeah. So I just never realized to do cosmetology until I guess, although I was pushed into it, I did decide to go on my own. But seeing like that environment and that world, it was a lot of fun. Which hopefully I get my license soon, so I can start doing it myself.
That would be great.
But yes, I did always work on either other people's hair, help dye their hair. Did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not.
Or your own.
Yes, please don't touch your hair at home.
With no experience.
If you have questions, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun just to immerse myself with the school. And the school I went to is actually really close. So
Right.
it was a mixed school, very diverse. I learned a lot of braiding. I struggle with braiding still, but that's okay. But I really flourished in more like the color area,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I want to get into more and do more the fun colors and
The
pinks.
vivids.
Yeah,
That's what you're
purples, the
interested
rainbows.
in.
Hmm.
And you were always interested in that, even in
Yeah,
high school.
yeah. So definitely had my fair share of the color of the rainbow in my own hair. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay. So you started cosmetology school at the end of 2022. Then we went into 2023. I don't remember what month early in 2023 that you went to go live with your mom's parents. Do you remember what month that was?
I think it was like June or July.
Was it already, was it that late in the year?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't real I couldn't I just couldn't time wise, I think because of the fact that we lost Daddy last year.
yeah.
Sometimes some of my what I feel like I'm remembering feels like it's a little skewed.
Hmm.
So okay, I thought it was earlier in the year, but
Maybe it was because
was it like March?
maybe yes, because in April technically stayed with a friend for a month, and then it was
That's
March.
right.
Yeah, so I stayed in Denton for a month.
For a month, yeah. And then April. Okay. And then right, and then you stayed with your grandparents.
Yeah, so May.
Okay, that makes right.
Hmm.
That that makes right. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So your grandparents live about 7 blocks away from Daddy and I. So you
Hmm.
were still close,
Yeah,
minus the month in Denton,
yeah.
and you were still going to cosmetology school, and you were going throughout the summer. You weren't working, you were doing cosmetology full time still, right? At that point.
Yes.
Okay. And then we lost Daddy, right? So you were nearing the end of cosmetology and you were supposed to be done by I guess
Hmm.
mid-August-ish.
Yeah,
And then we lost Daddy on Saturday the 12th.
yeah.
And that next week is when you were like finishing your like you had to finish your hours
Hmm.
by
I think it was I had to be by Thursday because it was a weekday.
it was a weekday. It might have been yeah, it was Thursday because Thursday was our private visitation with him. So it was just me, you, your sister,
Hmm.
my parents and siblings, your Thea Janie and her family, and then also your Theas from your dad's other side of the family.
Yeah, I had to be done by then technically for.
Yeah, and you left our private visitation early
Hmm.
that day because you had to go to school to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Hmm.
Okay.
That was hard.
That's what I was going to ask. So
Yeah.
how was that? Because even that Thursday was the private visitation, and so you had to leave early to go do that. But even during the week, you were leaving like we were all here at home. People were here everywhere.
Hmm.
And although you had been living with your grandparents, you were here for the most part that week
Yeah.
with me and your sister, right?
So yes, so on the 12th, I stayed here and I stayed with you guys throughout the rest of the weekend.
Right?
And
Okay.
then I
Because
just
me and you and your sister all slept in here in mine and daddy's bed.
yes.
Yeah.
I think I only really slept here one night then because I think Sunday night I decided that I needed to go to school and I wouldn't go to school if
If you were here?
yeah. So I ended up staying on Sunday with my grandparents,
Okay.
I think.
And maybe you were just coming back and forth every day?
I think so. Yeah. So
Okay.
Monday, that was the
But
like
every day you had to go back to school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, since I made everyone or the main admin people there and my personal instructor, what was going on, they were very lenient. So I would stay pretty late
Yeah.
and then maybe like till about closing time, like
Right.
11:30, and then I would come back and then kind of like
Yeah. So like your sister and I were doing all of the stuff in regards to daddy and you weren't able to do it with us because you were in
mhm,
school. So like on that Monday, your sister and I went up to Gainesville to the state troopers highway patrol office to get
yeah,
daddy stuff and you didn't get to go.
no.
And then
which I
one of
don't.
those days, your sister and I went to go to the funeral home to go work on
Hmm.
details for Daddy's services,
Yeah.
and you were at school for that too. So how did that, you know?
It was kind of a blur. I felt very numb. I just knew that I had to finish school, and so I didn't really feel bad about missing out. I don't think I really would have been much help
Okay.
anyways. I think, of course, it would have been support from all of us, but it was nice to go at school because then it's kind of silly. Well, it's kind of not silly, but it was like I could quickly forget about it while I'm
Mhm.
at school
Yeah. It
and
was a
then,
distraction.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then continue. And then if I need, well, I would come back. So then I was like, okay,
Right.
now I'm not in school. I can just like focus on this.
Okay.
And it was still a struggle in school. I would have to, I think the first 2 days I was in a private room,
Mhm.
but I wasn't really doing much there. So I
Yeah.
just ended up becoming a part of like the school and the students that were there. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of close friends that
Mhm.
I still do talk to that were by my side, and they helped a lot. So everyone talked, of course, because it's a small school, so everyone was aware of what the
Of what had
situation
happened.
was.
Yeah.
But everyone was still very respectful about it.
Yeah. Okay. I do remember feeling personally, concerned about the idea that you were at school and not able to do some of those things. And I tried to make sure that, obviously, I wanted to make sure that your sister was with me so that way y'all didn't feel like I was making daddy's arrangements or doing anything
Hmm.
and not including y'all, and since I couldn't include you because you needed to be at school, I just wanted to make sure, that your sister was present and that I was sharing the whole thing with you guys and keeping y'all informed and making sure y'all felt a part of it.
Yeah, I really wasn't even like aware of what goes into a funeral
Yeah.
service or any of the services that we did. So I was like, whatever you decide to do,
Yeah.
I respect it.
You were.
But I think that was the easiest for me to like just.
Hand it over.
Hmm.
I also know that it was a blur for you, and it was clear that it was a hard thing to do, like go to school while we were going through the situation we were going through that week. But I just want to tell you that I was really proud of you
Oh,
for doing it.
thank you.
Daddy would have, I know I told you then, but just again, Daddy would have totally been proud that you pushed through and got it done,
Yeah.
considering what was going on in our lives in that moment.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So
think
good
so
job,
too.
kiddo.
I had to.
I
Well, it was mainly for dad, also myself. But
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so we had his services, and then your graduation. It was the week after his services, right?
Yes, it was.
Because you didn't want anyone to go, and you weren't even really going to mention it.
Yes, I was gonna go
But I mean,
actually.
you were going to go.
Yeah, but I also it just didn't work out.
Okay, but even you're like clocking out.
Oh
You
yeah,
weren't
I was
really going
just
to
gonna.
mention any of
Yeah,
that. And
so when we clocked out, I think I clocked out around like
mhm.
10:30 something, maybe 10:15, and I was stuck talking to someone in the lunchroom. That's not important. But
No, but you weren't going to tell anyone, is what
no,
I'm
I was.
saying.
Yeah, I don't even know who
How did
did.
I found out?
Yeah, how did you?
Jacob and Meredith.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they
Sneaky.
mentioned it, and I was like,
Oh, well, we got to
yes.
do something. So yeah, okay, yeah, that's okay. Now I can remember. I told them because they asked me in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then Meredith asked me. I didn't put two and two together. I was just trying to get my hours done. But you guys surprised me. It was you, Thea, Mandy,
Mm-hmm.
Meredith, and Jacob, which was nice.
Kingston was there too.
And sorry, Kingston. And Kingston. That's right. And so we did like a little celebration
We did,
in the
but
parking
you
lot.
didn't want us to.
No.
Why?
Um, I'm not much to celebrate, I guess. And it
Okay.
was already like exhausting for me. So,
Okay.
but it was nice. Actually, it was very nice. So I do appreciate you guys all coming to like at least do a celebration about it.
Well, it's important.
Yeah.
And also, there's no way Daddy would have let that slide without.
Oh, he would have been mad.
Yeah.
He would have been like, "You didn't tell us
Yes.
if it actually."
Yeah. He would have wanted
Yeah.
some sort of celebration.
Yes.
He would have been excited.
And I think how we celebrated is how we would celebrate.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my instructors had to go get me because I kind of went past a little bit in a couple minutes.
I remember.
I also was talking to someone, but I was a little worried because we couldn't pinpoint what time I would really be done.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, well, I'll stay like an extra 10 minutes, 5 minutes, just so then it's like a little bit of cushion if needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you guys all came.
Yeah, we did.
Yes. I could feel my face getting red when you guys all showed up. I was like, oh, it's so late. But it was a good time.
Yeah. So that was in August.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's been at this point 6 months since we lost Daddy. Yesterday was 27 weeks.
Yes.
So I mean, so much has already happened in
Yeah.
the 6 months since we've been without him. So let's talk about what's happened in that time.
I dated someone.
Oh, you did. You dated someone.
Yeah, very quickly too.
Yes.
Dealt with my first heartbreak at the same time, so I don't know if that really helped with the whole grieving.
Right. It's almost like a double heartbreak.
Oh yeah. The first one, of course, Dad was much worse,
Yeah.
but the other one was still there.
Yeah.
But that was interesting how that came about.
That relationship,
Yeah, wasn't also
it was kind of fast.
yeah, it was fast. All
Mm-hmm.
of it was fast. But so that was interesting to deal with like during grieving.
Yeah.
Don't get in a relationship when you're grieving. But it wasn't too bad. No, it was. But it was a learning experience, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really regret it, but I wouldn't
Okay.
go back to that again.
And that's good. That's
Yeah.
good that you can recognize that. You
Yeah.
know, it is, and that it is an actual learning experience and not it's something that you can identify as something that not to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I definitely think I should have stayed more closer, like with family, instead of being in a relationship that quickly. Because it was the day of my actual graduation where I had a date. I missed it because I was hanging out with them, but that worked out because I really wasn't planning on going.
yeah.
But then from there, like a whole, how long? Like a month where I dated this person, technically?
Maybe a little bit longer.
Like 2 months?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But like every day
Yeah.
and practically living together.
Yeah.
So, like from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think that you can like assess and have an idea why you chose to do that instead of just like be close to like home and us and your cousins and
I think for me, I don't really think I even did it for me. I think it's because we hung out every day and they didn't really want me to like leave. I
mm,
felt bad when I should have been feeling bad for myself,
mm-hmm.
really. So I ended up staying with them like every day.
Yeah.
And so, but if I'm trying to think about like why.
Yeah. Because you also didn't
I
let
think,
them know, right, that you had lost your dad right
no,
away.
I definitely cried like a lot,
Yeah.
but I think it was also just a distraction.
Yeah.
I think I tend to do
Distract
that.
yourself.
Yeah, it was just another thing to worry about instead of having to worry about myself and how everyone else is doing. So
Yeah.
it's just like going to school.
Yeah.
I could just kind of put it on the back burner,
Yeah.
which
So you also kind of avoided therapy a little bit for a while there too, huh?
yes, I avoided a lot of things. It was a complicated relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were
We don't have to get into it.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to get into it. That's not necessary. But
Okay.
it was a difficult time. And maybe you didn't realize it was as difficult. Even 6 months later, you can look back on it and see that, like, you thought you were being, like, strong and, like,
No, I wasn't. I was being
but you,
young.
yeah, but you
Dumb.
weren't. You were just kind of avoiding and
Hmm.
even avoiding, like, therapy and our help. But you did leave that relationship
Yes.
and then you did start seeing your therapist again,
Hmm.
which is great.
I know we're making grown up decisions.
I
Baby
love
adult. I
that.
know.
I love that for
It's the
you.
frontal cortex finally
I love that
developing.
for me.
I love it for me too. But yes, I have been going to our therapist more, which has been helpful.
Okay, good.
Lots of changes have
Yeah.
happened. gradual, not like quick changes,
Right.
but
Not overnight.
yeah, I wish it was overnight,
Yeah.
but it's been more easier. Um,
What do you mean more easier?
I think just helping like with my mental health, of
Mm-hmm.
course, even before dad, and then like during dad, and then now after dad, like mental health has always been a big struggle for me. So
Right.
it's nice to have someone to talk to, be able to identify like certain triggers, I guess, or
Yeah.
anything that could help relax my mental health.
So what do you think has made that change? Because you have had mental health struggles and, not like you're having a nervous breakdown or craziness, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I just want to like point out the non-severity of it for
Hmm.
our people watching,
Yeah.
that it was obviously, things that needed to be addressed and things that you were struggling with, but it wasn't like, but I it's been a struggle for you since you were a kid, and or in high school, let's say. And it's been something that your parents, all of us have tried to like figure out how to support and help and lead you in the right direction. And it's definitely been a challenge for all of us and for you.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is that what do you think has made the difference recently? Because I'm not, and I'm asking because I think I am really proud of where you are today, like where we are on Saturday, February 18th at 5:34 p.m. Like I'm really proud of that because I do feel like there is growth and there is change in you in a positive direction. And, are things perfect? No. But are things like 100% better? No, no, but they are moving in what looks like the right direction. And
Hmm.
you look happier and it feels lighter. And I just was really afraid of that because of the fact that we lost daddy. Because
Yeah.
you
I was really struggling.
were really struggling, and then we lost daddy,
Yeah.
and I thought, man, this could really be bad, and I prayed, and we had some tense moments after losing daddy,
Yeah.
even just you
I
and
mean,
I
even
here.
before, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
we
even
did.
but just without him, just me and you had some
Yeah.
tense moments.
I think also it's been just I'm getting tired of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and I like that. I like
um,
that honesty,
yeah.
because people that may be watching us later on, we could one day they could be watching, and it could be,
Yeah.
a parent with a 20-something-year-old kid who's going through struggles, and like
It's
they're
a
like,
phase, I swear. No,
okay.
it's not. But no, I got tired of it and I didn't like waking up the way that I did.
Mhm.
I went out a lot
Okay.
and did dumb mistakes and decisions. But I think it's also changing the people that I surround myself with.
Okay.
I have very great friends as individuals, and they got worried too.
Yeah.
And they were like intervention time,
Okay.
like what everyone mostly felt the need to do for me, which I appreciate. But yeah, I think it was people who I surround myself with,
Okay.
certain boundaries I have with myself, and changes that I'm doing for myself as well. I don't go out as much because, as dad knows, and how dad is, one had to lead to another.
Mhm.
But he was always like wanting, he had FOMO. I have FOMO.
Yeah.
But I think missing out is totally fine.
Yeah.
And the party will always be there.
It will.
So, and I want to be stable.
Yeah.
So, and have stability. And I think since I wasn't having that for a while, you get tired of it. And you
Yeah.
don't want to be stressed
Right.
24/7 and just worried. And I was just running amok. I was also struggling with all of the parents and the family members.
Okay.
So I think I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
So I currently do live with my grandparents,
Right.
and I didn't really want to stress them out as much as I have been.
Okay.
So
So maybe just a little bit of personal growth.
yeah, I think so.
Is there anything that Daddy and I did as parents or could have done as parents to have kind of helped through the struggle, or something that we did that we thought we were doing the right thing, but maybe it wasn't?
No, I think you guys did everything you guys could. Therapy, having talks, trying to figure out the problem or the root cause of it. I don't think you guys ever did anything wrong or could have done anything more. I think you guys did everything that you could have.
Mhm.
And so I don't think the problem really stemmed from you guys. I think it stemmed also from living in a different area and
Okay.
environment. So,
Okay.
and then also just adolescence. I think
Okay.
how I grew up was different in high school.
Okay.
So,
I can see that.
yeah.
Okay. What about our new normal? How do you feel about our new normal?
It's interesting. I don't like it, but
Yeah.
I think how we've also grown closer. And so I don't I don't like it because dad's not here.
Right.
But I don't hate it because I can't imagine any other person to really stick by all of us still. That makes sense. You're gonna make me cry.
You're gonna make me cry.
But I think you've been pretty great.
Thank you, my darling. I love you guys.
I love you too.
I don't have tissues.
I know it's okay. They're going away. But yeah, I think that's it I got. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. I would say, okay, so our new normal, let's talk about,
I come over a lot.
yeah, what does our new normal look like? You're here a lot,
I
which is great.
am.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I also really like coming over a lot. It's just, well, they're like you guys are only 7 blocks away, so it's easy
It is easy.
for me to come over. And I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
I come over for you, but also for me.
Yeah. I can see that.
And
Sometimes I haven't talked about like daddy's belongings and stuff yet. I'm going to do an episode on that, but like sometimes you in particular, you come over and come into our room and go in his closet
I
and
do.
stuff like that.
I like to smell them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. What we do, we watch TV, we talk.
Yeah. We've always
Um,
talked a lot though.
yeah, which is great. I'm a yapper.
We get a lot of ice cream.
We do get a lot of ice cream.
We should probably stop getting so much ice
I
cream.
know, but it's so good. It's okay. We're not getting ice cream tonight.
No, we're not.
But I also talk to Grandma Nini a lot.
You do. That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Y'all talk a lot.
Yeah. And it's, I don't know. I've always felt like home here.
Yeah.
So,
And it is your home.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like comfort home,
Yeah.
like cozy.
Yeah.
Not saying that my other homes haven't been, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always been, we followed dad, me and Sarah,
All the time.
like a duckling.
Yes.
Even just walking room to room,
Yes.
we would be
right behind him. Even as like
adults.
young adults, y'all still did that
Yeah,
with him.
and
Yeah.
like I still see him everywhere. My favorite memories are of us talking outside
Yeah.
a lot, having heart to hearts. He was also very sensitive.
He was.
So it's nice to be able to remember those things. And I think that's also why I come over.
Yeah, because it feels like he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, oh, he hated when I gave him long hugs. No, he didn't. I don't think he did, but he would act like he would.
No, but he loved it.
Yeah. I would give him a hug or ask for a hug while he's doing something, especially in the kitchen, because I'm like this close to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm cooking or I'm doing something. I need space.
Yeah.
So, but I would get asked for like a hug and I wouldn't let go.
Yeah. Well, y'all were always, like that with him.
Yeah. Luckily, he was always affectionate.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He was the best.
I'm more like you, where I like the affection, but I can't always initiate
You're like, yeah.
the affection.
Right.
So I'm like,
but you need it.
Yeah, I'm like, I would love a hug right now, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I would, and I think I've talked about that in a previous episode. That's why I feel like Daddy and I worked out so well, because he was so like lovey and like outwardly expressive of love, and I really needed it, but I didn't know how to do it, and so he made it easy for me.
Yeah.
I think what he needed was my partnership and stability, and to know that we were like in it together, like to feel that security. And I could give that, because my love language is service and he needed service, and his love language was affection and I needed affection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Sarah's probably like the closest person that I give random hugs to.
Yeah.
So when she's gone, I'm like, and she comes back, I'm like, can I give you a hug? She'll look at me like, no.
Yeah.
Like she never received affection in her life.
Yeah. She always casually like catches me with a random hug, and that makes me like cry.
Well,
I'm like,
when we were driving her, she was definitely falling asleep.
Yeah.
On me and on
Oh,
my
she
lap.
was.
Yeah.
The whole time on the road trip.
But I think I like our new normal too. I don't like it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's not.
You're okay with adapting to what our new normal is turning out to be so far, considering we have no choice.
Yeah.
But it's not miserable and horrible. We're making do, and we're banding together,
Yeah.
and we're getting through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As a family.
It's definitely, well, since I talk a lot, and
Boy, do you talk a lot. No, I'm just
I do.
playing.
I
Daddy used to talk a lot
I
too.
know. I think I'm getting it from him. Or sometimes, like, I don't know, like I feel him and I'm like, okay, it's a lot of talking. I'm getting tired. But it is quiet now here.
It's definitely quiet.
But now I get to talk.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
That's funny.
But I don't know. It is to get used to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, I think I ended your sister's introduction with asking her if there was anything she wanted to ask me or wanted me to like talk about or address, which sounds very like, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
like rules.
Yeah.
Um,
If not, that's okay. I just wanted to.
well, actually, I kind of do. It's almost the same question as Sarah. But
Okay.
how are you doing now with our new normal?
With our new normal. Wow. I could probably do a whole episode on
The now.
the now and what the new normal like is for me from my perspective where
Mhm.
we're concerned, but I mean, the truth is that not that great, but you guys are my reason, so it keeps me going. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad you're still here. Thank you.
I'm
We
glad you're still
we
here.
love you very much.
Well,
I love you very much.
I love you too, my darling. Thank you for being my guest.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Join me here next Saturday, and we can continue to talk about what it's like in my casa. And if you want to talk about what it's like in your casa with me, send me an email. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.